Hello guys, welcome to today's video. So today, I sort of mentioned it in a video the other day, and that is it's going to be a run through of the event quest. As you can see, I'm sort of the way through it, just making my way through quite slowly. This is going to be a run through of the thronebreaker, and then a short overview of the cavalier one as well. So this will be a run through of what each path needs. As you know, with most each event quest, there's a sort of a requirement, a class requirement on each one, and then it's basically what it needs, which path is probably the easiest path for it, and then which way you should go. So we'll jump right into it. This is all going to be for the thronebreaker class difficulty, and yeah, we'll jump straight in. If it's helped you out, or you enjoy this video, please leave it a like, please comment down below. That would massively help the channel, and I really appreciate all the support that you guys give to these videos. So let's jump right in on the first path of the first chapter. So this one has the node 1-2 punch. So each time a science attacker knocks the defender down, if they've got a weakness, slow, or power sting on them, the defender is then inflicted with a non-stacking petrify, and then that complements this node Avarice, which is every 15 seconds the defender gains a power gain passive, granting 15% of max power. So obviously that petrify, it says right there, massively reduces the ability power rate and regeneration rate. So it's how much power they generate. So that complements that one really well. And then each time the defender will gain power while suffering from petrify, wither, suppression, or enervate, you gain an indefinite fury passive, which is stacks up to 10. So the goal here is science champs, as they can get the science champs who have power sting, slow, or weakness on them. So these are champs like Quicksilver has a slow on his SP1, so then you can start knocking the opponent down, and you'll gain a lot of those petrify stacks, which will then convert into furies. Immortal Abomination works really well for this as well because of his weakness that he gets on the block. Ant-Man with a power sting, Yellow Jacket with a power sting, Void can work really nicely. Spider-Man 2099, because of the wither, he'll just gain that fury passive without having to knock them down. And then you have other champs who there's loads of others. Spider-Ham works, and then champs also who have got Petrify, Enervate, Wither, or Suppression in their kit. So this is like Immortal Abomination has a Petrify on his SP1, as I said, Spider-Man 2099. But this doesn't only have to be science champs. You can also go around and look at other champs who also have like a slow or a Enervate, or not slow, sorry, because that you need to be a science champ, but a Petrify, Enervate, a Wither, or Suppression. So Cap 2099. Not Cap 2099, sorry, Captain America Beardo. Who was I just about to say? Mr. Negative, obviously they're science champs, so they don't sort of fit in, or they fit really nicely in this. But yeah, it's really any champs with a Petrify, Enervate, Wither, or Suppression, and then a science champ. I think the easiest path is probably this, the path with the linked node on. Just because Bishop is a real pain. If you've got a good Bishop counter, then that one can be really easy, because then you could just take the Quake or the Hela side. And then this other side's quite easy as well, but it has a really annoying down and out, where if you knock them down with a heavy attack, then you have to throw a special attack straight away, which can be sometimes quite annoying. So yeah, I would recommend that sort of middle link node path. And then for the boss, it's a ghost boss. Whenever you miss, they get a power thief. They're also immune to the effects of stun. Every special attack is unblockable, and you have encroaching stun as well, which is probably the most annoying part of this. But just be ready to throw your special attack, or have one prepared for when that encroaching stun comes, or have a champ who's stun immune. Hercules works well. I use Galen for this fight because she's a tech champ, and it's really easy to dex her special attacks, and yeah, he can just absolutely shred her health down. So good champs for her probably are like Galen, Hulkling, obviously, Hercules, but then some science champs as well, like any of the science champs that you've bought on this path. If you've got a lot of them, then you may as well bring them in. So yeah, the first quest is a very easy one, and there's a whole load of champs who you can take in for that science that science quest. So into chapter 1, path 2, or we've got the MODOK boss, which so far I've played 4 of them. This is by far the most annoying boss. As you know, saw in my recent video, I hate MODOK as it is. I think he's such a pain. So this boss is really annoying. But on the path first, it is a mutant path. So each time a mutant attack and knocks a defender down, you get an unblockable. Then how many times you hit while that unblockable is active, you get a fury. These obviously stack up to 10 again. So that's the combination of these first 2 nodes. Then there's also the roll with the punches. So if they receive a stun debuff, that reduces the length of that stun debuff unless you've got a prowess or an active buff. So Kitty works really well, Professor X works really well, Bishop works really nicely, Havoc probably works really well because of his buff. You know, Apocalypse works really well. There's so many champs who work really well with this. Toad and so on and so on. So this is a relatively easy path as well. You just build up those furies by hitting them while they're after they've knocked down shortly. The hardest fight on this is probably the Misty Knight. Just keep her to her SP1 and it shouldn't be too difficult. The Unstoppable Colossus is just annoying rather than difficult. He just always has that unstoppable. But the main tricky, you know, the hardest part of this path, in my opinion, is the MODOK. He's immune to poison. He gets a guaranteed crit every 5th hit instead of 7th. But those 2 things you don't really notice unless you're taking in a champ who deals a lot of poisons, which, you know, I didn't for this one. The 2 really annoying ones are all of his hits are unblockable. All of his hits are guaranteed crits unless you intercept or dodge him. And then the most annoying one is the Be Like Water. Whenever he's inflicted with a non-damaging debuff, it gains an unblockable passive. So, for example, Null doesn't work for this. If you put a stun on them, parry, they get MODOK gets an unblockable, so he doesn't work. Really good champs that can work for this are any champs who can counter auto blocks. So Hercules can work, but he puts that Infuriate on, so that's really annoying because then he becomes unblockable. You've also got people like Black Cat who reduce his ability accuracy. Falcon could probably work really well as long as you don't parry him. So it's just about getting that recon up in time, and then, you know, you can really go to town on him. Magneto works really nicely because he obviously is a metal champ, so he turns off the auto block, so he makes it a little bit easier. But yeah, there are a few counters to him, but MODOK is a lot more tricky. Make sure that you keep him in mind. I would say the linked node path on this one is a little bit more tricky. You've obviously got Ebony Maw there, you've got Super Skrull, you've got Airwalker and Icarus, all relatively difficult defenders. So yeah, I wouldn't recommend taking that path. Moving on to chapter 2. Again, if you are enjoying this video or this helps you at all, please leave a like and comment. It is really appreciated, and you know, I really enjoy engaging with you guys, so that would be really nice. Then, as I said, going into chapter 2, this one becomes a little bit not more complex, but it just allows you to get more options. So here you can have each cross charge grants 30% attack rating. After winning a fight, attackers with Tactical Edge convert up to 5 cross charges into a crossfight Fury passive. So that obviously lasts the next 2 fights. That's really nice. What are the Tactical Edge? It's Avengers attackers. So any attackers that have the Avengers tag, you can use in this fight. So as well as tech champs. Each time you end a 5-hit combo with a medium, it inflicts a power drain on the opponent. If you don't do a 5-hit combo, if you do like a 4-hit or a 3-hit, you get a glancing debuff, so you've got to try and keep to 5-hit combos. This also counts for heavy attacks and special attacks. So if your special attack doesn't go over 5 hits, or if your heavy attack is obviously only 1 hit, then that gives you that glancing effect as well. So that can be really, really annoying with the glancing, but if you build up those Furies nicely, Warlock works really well for this. He's a great counter because obviously his Infected has a power drain in it. His SP1 also has a power drain, as well as and then finishing with that 5-hit combo obviously gives you a Fury because you put a power drain. Good champs with the Avengers ones. Quicksilver has the Avengers tag. Sam Wilson, Falcon, Hulkbuster, Thor Ragnarok, regular Thor, both Scarlet Witches, Mantis, Black Panther, obviously Black Widow, Deadly Origin, you know, they all work really well. And then Tech Champs who also have the tag of or just who have power drain in their kits. So for example, Guillotine 29 on our SP1. A Power Lock also works. A Hulkbuster again works. He's sort of he works for both Avengers and that, and for being a tech champ. Nimrod can obviously special lock and power lock. As I said, Warlock works really well. So, you know, there's a lot of champs out there that you can use. The easiest path for this one, again, I'd probably recommend the middle one, just because if you take a Warlock, he builds that 10 Fury passives really high on Sabretooth because of the regeneration. There isn't anyone really tricky to fight on this path, except for maybe the America Chavez. But then, once you've done that path, you get to the Diablo boss. So for this one, for this boss, skill attackers purify 1 debuff whenever they dash back. It increases by 1 for every subsequent dash performed in a row. So if you do loads of it, obviously shakes and purifies all these debuffs. If you purify a damage over time debuff, you gain a damage enhancement passive, which increases the amount of damage that you do. Whenever you would receive an effect from the defender that you are immune to, the defender gains a non-stacking power gains. He obviously gains power. And then poisons, obviously it being Diablo, is the sort of main thing. For this one, I actually took in Immortal Abomination, thinking that I'll just do like 20% damage. In the end, he took him out completely. Really looking at this debuff synthesis one, if you parry heavy with Warlock, you'll do so much damage. So he's also poison immune, so that will inflict a poison debuff onto Diablo, and then he obviously becomes very... he does a lot of damage and, yeah, takes a lot of damage. That's the Diablo boss for him. As I said, Warlock works with the parry heavy. Immortal Abomination works really nicely. Ultron can work with all the bleeds that he puts on, and then constantly stunning on his SP1. You know, there's loads of champs that you can take in there. A good bleed and stun combination works really well to take Diablo down quickly. Yeah, so he's probably the easiest boss so far, him or Ghost. And then this is the second path of Chapter 2. This one was a little bit more tough on the path, not so much on the boss, but definitely on the path. I would say the easiest path to take is the one beginning with Ultron, Path B, just because you know, there's some challenging defenders on some of the other ones. Hyperion's on there. Apart from him, you know, Penny Parker's also on that one. Then you've got Gore, Warlock, and Apocalypse, and Shuri on the same one. So, you know, yeah, I would definitely say that the Ultron one is the easiest. For this one, it's Cosmic Champs. So, Cosmic Champs, as well as New Avengers, A-Force, or Fantastic Four. So, obviously for Fantastic Four, you've got all of the Fantastic Four. For New Avengers as well, you have for New Avengers, you've got Hyperion, you've got Miles Morales, you've got Wiccan, Wolverine, Sunspot. Then for Fantastic Four, you've also got obviously all the Fantastic Four and Super Skrull. And then for A-Force, there aren't so many great champs in here. You've only got Captain Marvel movie and She-Hulk and the 2 Scarlet Witches. Or you take in your Cosmic Champs. Good Cosmic Champs who work for this are Cosmic Champs who get buffs. So Gallon works really, really nicely on this one. Because, as it says there in Powerful Objection, if the attacker is Cosmic or has a tactical edge, they gain a power buff. That counts as a buff as well. So you can take in Cosmic Champs who maybe don't get as many buffs. Like, for example, I took in Null. If you don't have a buff, they do regenerate 1% of their max health every second, so that can be really annoying. So, you know, as I said, try and get those buff-heavy Cosmic attackers. Then, how do you sort of gain these Furies in this fight? That is by, if you've got that power gain and you interrupt any of their attacks, or that's how you get it, sorry, and then by hitting them with the power gain on and doing special attacks, that gains you those Furies, which obviously works really nice. And then not too many tricky people on there. You've got Overseer, a Nightcrawler. Evade counter is really, really helpful. I would definitely recommend taking that in because I definitely found that really, really annoying. But yeah, he works. I used Professor X, and I think he got slapped quick, so I just had to take him down in multiple chances with Gallon. Again, really annoying, but yeah, I just hate Nightcrawler. I think he's such a pain. And then you come on to this Titania boss. So she actually isn't too tricky, apart from fighting her in general. So Scared Stiff is on this one, so every 8 seconds you become rooted for 4 seconds. However, if you keep hitting her, then the timer gets reset. It's only if you don't hit it for 8 seconds, then you get rooted. You've also got the roll with the punches, which we saw earlier on. You receive a stun, or every time you stun her, this reduces by 20% unless you've got a buff or a prowess. And then you've got the two that sort of benefit her, which is debuffs inflicted by her, last 100% longer. If her furies are paused, unless you dodge or evade, and then each time you're inflicted with a debuff, she has a power gain passive. The easiest way to avoid this is obviously she can hit you through the block, but it's not too major. Just her special attacks are really easy to dex. You've just got to watch out for that Haymaker, and in combination with the Rooted. Obviously, while you're trying to bait special attacks, try and get a few hits in here and there just to make sure that you don't go Rooted on one of her special attacks. Otherwise, that can do a lot of damage. Good counters for her are obviously, again, Cosmic Champs who get a lot of buffs. Gallon works really nicely. He's who I used. I also went and used Kitty as well because of her prowess. Her prowesses, obviously, Hercules works, Hulkling works, Silver Surfer can work, Vision Arcus works with his power gains, Thor, Venom, Gore, all of these champs really, really useful. And then you've also got champs who have a passive prowess on them, a Bishop, a Kitty Pryde, who I went in and took her out with. Go in and venture into the two new characters. So obviously got Zemo and Absorbing Man. Zemo on the first path, Absorbing Man on the second. Both look really, really awesome. Zemo looks so cool. His character model is so cool. It's awesome. And then Absorbing Man looks like he's going to be such a great counter to so many things. Short fights, battlegrounds, looks like he's going to be a really hard defender. I'm intrigued to see how I fight him in this last quest. As you can see, he's the only one I've got left. But let's jump into the Zemo path and see what we're working with here. So with him, it's you've got the easiest path to start, in my opinion, is probably either the one beginning Elsa Bloodstone or the one beginning Heimdall, dependent on whether you want to fight Mojo or whether you want to fight Elsa. They're the two hardest defenders, in my opinion. The rest are relatively easy. But yeah, I took the Elsa one because there was a lot more text with armor that Gallon could sort of shred through. The nodes on this path, you've got again cross charge, tactical advantage, same as the last fight. However, on this one, the tags are defenders, thunderbolts, and inhumans. So on the inhumans, the sort of you're a little bit, I would say, you don't have much choice really. The thunderbolts, you've obviously got Zemo himself. America Chavez is pretty good. Agent Venom, especially with Scorpion, Kraven on there as well. Red Guardian, Red Hulk, Ghost is a really, really good one that you might want to bring in. So they're the champs that have it for there. I think Ghost would be probably the best out of all of those, just because she's Ghost. She's probably the best tech champ in the game. Then for the defenders, the other one there, you've got Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, Moon Knight, Namor, Valkyrie is a really nice one in there. Howard Duck, again, somebody who's really good. And then both Daredevils, as well as some other pretty bad characters. And then with the Inhumans, you really are stumped. It's Quake or Medusa. The other three, you've got Black Bolt, Karnak, Miss Marvel are the other three. All three of them pretty not great champs. Or skill. So if the skill champ can get a bleed or a physical vulnerability debuff or an armor break, then that's how they can inflict the or build up their furies and then take those onto the fight. As long as you can just bring in a skill champ and then finish that with a combo that you hadn't previously finished the last combo with. For example, medium, light, medium, then you would have to end with a light, or vice versa. So they're sort of the champs that you want to take in. Obviously, all skill champs work. Nick Fury would be really good for this. Black Cat, Falcon on his SP1. You know, so many options on the skill. I just ended up going with sort of really just the characters you can see there, because I came in and Zemo was sort of my main issue. Zemo's got robotic attackers. If they are going to bleed, instead they get an incinerate. So you either need somebody who's bleed and incinerate immune, or just taking a bleed immune who's not a robot. He also has protection, so you need to knock him down. If you 2 basic attacks in a row of gives him a taunt. Try and keep him to his SP1. It's easy to evade. The SP2, Metal Sonic Doom did that little 5-second video that came out yesterday with Metal Sonic Dude, sorry, with him evading all of them. And I saw Lagsy's video and he did it by accident the first time. It's definitely possible, but very difficult. And then again, you are inflicted with a root and a special lock passive, which can be really annoying. So as long as, you know, try and avoid that root effect, but yeah, it can be quite tricky. Obviously, Zemo puts a lot of bleeds on you, but yeah, keep him to that SP1 and you should be able to take him down. I think I ended up taking him down with Gallon, just, I think it was maybe 3 detonations of like 250 planetary mass, and he went. Kitty Pryde worked quite nicely as well, but she died. And then the last path on this one, last but not least, is the Absorbing Man one. I'm obviously yet to go in here, so can't tell you who I used. He looks like he's going to be sort of the most challenging boss. He looks really, really nice. Really, really difficult to take down. I probably, having not looked at the path yet, would say definitely not the one with Wong on or Dr. Doom. Maybe the linked node path, although it's got a tumor and crossbones on there. Yeah, you probably have to look around for this one. There's an all-mutant path. Oof, too tricky to say. There's a lot of difficult defenders on these paths. Probably the one with Rogue and Hercules on. You've only really got Nova there. Everyone else, as long as you've got a robot champ, relatively easy to take down. And then on Absorbing Man himself, we forgot the nodes. That was close. So let's go to Hercules. We'll go to the linked node in case you want to take that one down, because that has all the nodes and more. So each time a Mystic attacker gains a regeneration effect, you power drain 10% of the defender's max power. So Mystic champs that regen, obviously, to get that regen, each time a Mystic attacker inflicts power drain, power burn, or steal, they gain that Fury passive. And then, so it's all to do with the drain. So you either want a Mystic champ who drains power or a Mystic champ who regenerates. Obviously, you know that Rincha regenerates while he's in the block. You've got regeneration on, let me double check, try and rack my brain now. Diablo, his regeneration on that SP1. Magique, if you have as a 5-star, she can obviously go in. Rincha, as I said. There are options out there, or you want champs that power drain. Again, Dr. Doom, obviously, with the Doom cycle. Wiccan is in there as well. So, you know, there are options there, both Scarlet Witches. So this is obviously the Mystic path. And then to go into Absorbing Man himself, you've got, when you gain a regen effect, you also gain a precision passive that gives you crit chance. So you want somebody who regens. The defender's more likely to use the same special attack they most recently used. So if you keep him to his SP1, he'll rotate that. I'm not 100% which one's easier to deck. So maybe go in, test a fight, or watch a fight on YouTube. I'm going to try and upload like a little short video of just my 2 fights, or my fight with Absorbing Man. Whenever he would receive a debuff, he's immune to, so that's Incinerates, or I believe, actually off the top of my head, I can't remember, definitely Incinerates, and then Armor Breaks, Armor Shatters. In his Uru form, he is immune to, Christ, he's got a lot to read, isn't he? But yeah, he's got Armor Break or Armor Shatter there. He doesn't say what he might be. He probably has some in those other forms that you guys might have to check out, as I can't seem to say it there, and I still want to keep this video quite swift. And then he's obviously got the Sting Like a Bee If he throws it far away from the attack, he gains an indefinite cruelty, so try and stay close. And then after you successfully parry, they gain an armor break debuff. So you want to, parry heavy is probably really, really effective with this fight. Or just maybe parry 3 hits while the stun is still on. That will work really nicely. So hopefully this video has been helpful for you guys, just going through, knowing what you want to take in at the beginning. Obviously, these are the rewards. You got, almost 13k 6-star shards there. Some nice tier 6 basic catalysts, which, I really could do too. I actually think I'm relatively close to a first rank 4, which is exciting. Not sure who it will be yet. Even a tier 5 class catalyst, if you can, if you 100% it, which is pretty good. And then I believe this is a 50%. Yeah, so a lot of offers there, and then combined with the Cavalier, you just complete them both. That's 5k shards. So some really nice little bits there for you. Yeah, hope that's pretty much all for the video. If you've enjoyed it, then please leave a like. I'd really appreciate that. Thank you again so much for watching, and I'll see you in tomorrow's video. Thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.